World Water Day 2012, Water and Food Security. It is said water is life. Most of us today take it for granted. We misuse it and we waste it. But what do we do when this resource becomes scarce and the demand for it increases? The earth consists of 70% water. Only 3% of the world's water is fresh water. And of this, only 1.5% is easily accessible, which means the other 1.5 is either frozen in glaciers or in deep aquifers. And with the pressing issue of global warming, which has altered weather patterns, it is time we put measures in place to properly manage water resources, as it plays a fundamental role in our development. There are over 7 billion people to feed on the planet today, and another 2 billion are expected by 2050. This means that 70% more food will be needed, up to 100% more in some developing countries. The Guyana government has already taken steps to ensure its nation's food security.
It is no secret that Guyana has made it clear that we wish to regain the status of the breadbasket of the Caribbean. To do that, we will have to increase food production dramatically.
But this will also put a strain on Guyana's water. For every extra acre of land farmed, more water will be needed.
As we think of food production, the most intensive use of water is for agriculture purposes. More than 70% of the world's supply of water today is actually consumed directly for agriculture purposes. More than the amount of water that we consume for human consumption and for industrial development.
Now, we all are not vegetarians. In fact, most of us today eat meat.
More importantly, governments are faced with the expanding middle class, as you may put it, or the expanding economic wealth and growth of people throughout the world. And as people grow, their eating habits change. As economic scenario changes, people's eating habits change. The reality of the situation, and the food, the FAO will tell you this, the reality of the situation is that we will have to produce more meat because the demand is there.
They also say countries with little or no water may choose not to grow crops but trade in virtual water, importing foods from countries which have large amounts of water to save supplies from domestic or high-value uses. This is the opportunity that Guyana's agricultural minister has his eyes on.
Because we have in Guyana a better chance of managing our water, we also have a real opportunity not only to feed our people, but to contribute to feeding the 7 billion people in the world, which is likely to grow to 9 billion by 2050.
Guyana is known as the land of many waters and has enormous potential for agricultural use. Only a small percentage is currently used for farming, but before Guyana can be able to truly live up to its name as the breadbasket of the Caribbean, we all as Guyanese need to take the responsibility of managing our water resources seriously.
Mr. Ransammy rightfully pointed out that we are known as a country that is rich in water. But we are also known for a country to be a people that wastes this resource tremendously. And this calls for the implementation of one of the themes, that is a culture change. An understanding that whilst water is a basic human right, the extraction of that water for human consumption is very costly. Very, very costly. Here in Guyana, we subsidize the delivery of water to the consumer by more than 70%.
Water scarcity already affects every continent and more than 40% of the people on the planet. By 2025, 1.8 billion people will be living in countries or regions with absolute scarcity, and 2/3 of the world's population could be living under water-stressed conditions. The lack of water limits farmers' ability to produce enough food to eat. And with urbanization, diets are shifting. Meat consumption in particular is expected to rise from 37 kg per person per year in 1999 to 2001 to 52 kg in 2050. And in developing countries like Guyana, from 27 kg to 44 kg, implying that much of the additional crop production will be used as feed for livestock production. Water is vital to food security. The lack of water can be a major cause for famine and undernourishment, especially in areas where people depend on local agriculture for food and income. We need it to survive. Let's not waste it.